relationships, drama, philosophy, relationships, drama, philosophy.
Hello and welcome to the Yellow Habibi podcast. If you're craving more adventure in life, whether to live it vicariously through us or get ideas to spark your own, this is the podcast for you. I'm Scott.
And I'm Shelby.
We are a couple exploring life, sharing the ups and downs of figuring it all out. Whether it's our travel stories, relationship goals, tough moments, or philosophical conversations, it is never a dull episode. Join us on this spinning rock we call Earth as we figure it out together. To all our new listeners, welcome. And to everyone else, welcome back.
Welcome.
Welcome always. And before we do jump in, we do like to just get this out of the way. Flick the like button, elbow the subscribe, drop 5 stars on the podcast like a boss, and share the episode by performing an interpretive dance in public.
Wow.
Yes, go out there and send us your videos. It really does keep the adventures coming. And do head over to TikTok to catch the best bits from today's episode. And if you're just joining us for the first time, we'll head over there anyway, and you can go back and see all of our favourite moments from past episodes. And to all our new listeners, Shelby is our resident lexicographer and etymologist, also known on this podcast as the countdown legend, Susie Dent.
That's me. So if ever we can't think of a word, then Scott will say, Susie, help me. And then I will think of the word, hopefully.
That's exactly, because she's fantastic at placing the right word at the right time. Today, I've made the episode all about me.
It's all about Scott.
Thank you, I appreciate that, thank you.
No worries.
It's all about me because I'm self-centered and I've got an ego the size of New York.
Well, it's pretty sizable.
Pretty sizable. Texas, that's bigger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Texas. I'm a big, egotistical bellend. Cut that. That's not kid friendly. Sorry. No. What? Go on. I'll let you talk.
Well, I am Scott's running coach. People may know that Scott is an ultramarathon runner. That I am his running coach, despite having only ever run a 10k. And I just said to him one day, because we'll get on to what Scott's big goal is and running distances shortly. But I said, when you're working towards a big, long distance running goal, I personally think it would make sense to get in the habit of running really long distances. Like, he runs 3 times a week.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Am I
Well
right?
done.
And those are varying lengths between
They are, yeah.
5k and
All the way up to usually about max, usually 15 miles
15.
in one go.
He's doing some pretty hefty distances already, but I just thought the toll that it takes on your body to do ultramarathons, to be in training for that, it'd be good to get in the habit of running a marathon regularly. If that becomes your new normal, then your ultras suddenly become more like a marathon to most people who are training for a big event. So January was well, we'll get on to what they were.
I'll go through them, don't worry.
So basically, we realised that Scott was on track for doing a marathon a month, and I was like, why don't you continue that and do a marathon a month?
Yeah, it's funny because so I already had Dubai booked because I missed it the year before by like a couple days. We left there just before and I was gutted. So I was like, Dubai Marathon would be so cool. We got there in time this year and I did Dubai Marathon. So that was on January, the 25th of January. And I can't remember, did we have Riyadh Marathon booked already?
I can remember booking Riyadh Marathon. We were in Dubai when we booked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we booked Riyadh like around the time that, because when you booked Dubai Marathon, you nearly missed it, didn't you? Because we didn't realise you had to go and collect the bag the night before.
Oh yeah, and they sucked.
Oh yeah, they were really bad.
We went to collect the bag. So Adidas sponsored the event. We went to literally the information centre. So basically, as any like big run, you tend to have like a collection. At the very minimum, your bib number to attach to you. And sometimes you get some merch. And we asked them a very simple question. All we asked is, what's the best way of getting there on the day?
Yeah, like to the start point.
To the start point.
Yeah.
And their answer was, sorry, we don't deal with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Like, just give us a location we can put into the
Yeah.
game, like, to get a taxi. Where are we getting the taxi to?
Yeah, because it didn't really define a start point. It wasn't clear. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, well, we don't really know about that stuff. I was like, you've been a sponsor for like 6 years.
Yeah.
You don't know where the start point is. I was like, no, you'll have to go on the website.
Yeah.
I hate I call those people button pushers.
Yeah.
Hate those people.
Yes, very useless. But yeah, we booked Riyadh Marathon when we were in Dubai,
Okay.
I think.
And now, let me just pull it back a minute before I start listing them all off. What was the reason of doing this? So Shelby, Shelby is my unofficial running coach. And she set me this challenge probably after the Riyadh Marathon. He said, well, you're already on for every month. So.
Yeah, 1 for 1.
And as she usually does, she can convince me very easily. But the logic was there. My plan was to hit 100-mile race in 25. I achieved a 50-mile race in 24. And then my dream was always to do 100 miles. If I hit by the age of 30 and I hadn't done a 100-mile race, I was like, right, I'll do it then. So that happened. I achieved 50 mile in 2024. And in 25, I achieved 70. Now, the reason I didn't achieve the 100-miler is my plan was to do it in the last 3 months of the year. So I started looking for races. We were all around Asia at the last 3 months of the year. And the most annoying thing happened is there were no races. Literally none. For 2 days, I pulled my hair out. You pulled your hair out. We looked online everywhere. And every country we were going to, usually I've just had luck. Like wherever we've gone to, there's been enough ultras to choose from. But didn't find one. We looked and looked and looked and looked. And we just didn't find one. There was 1 or 2 we maybe found, but it was like a mountain race. And I don't do mountain ultras. I do a bit more flat terrain. 100-mile mountain races. It's a different type of running. They call it fell running, which I don't do. It was a bit it's really gutting. But luckily, I think Shelby knew somewhere in herself that this might happen. Like maybe not consciously, but you were like, I don't know, guiding, running angel. And because you made this goal for me, it didn't make this year as sour for me from a running point of view.
Yeah.
Because I was so focused on that. And I'll be honest, it took me about a week to get over it. I was pretty grumbly about it. It really did upset me because when I really set myself to a goal, I put all myself into it and I don't let anything stop me. And I do sacrifice quite a lot for it. So, yeah, I was pretty gutted. But the positive is I achieved an awesome running goal, another one that year, which I've never achieved. The most races I've done in any year, and that was a marathon distance a month.
Which is an unbelievable achievement. Outrageous achievement. Like you said, you started off in Dubai.
Yeah, so I'll list them off. So Dubai Marathon was in Dubai. Riyadh was on the 9th of February. The next one was in the UK called Girl Power vs Backstreet Boys, which you also ran in that one.
I did a 5k in that.
You did a 5k. That was on the 16th of March.
Can I just interject about Saturn running there?
Yes.
Because they're really cool. They do runs all over the UK and they do really cool medals. Like they have different themed medals. Like so I've got a Spice Girls one because it was like Girl Power versus Backstreet Boys.
Yes.
So whenever they do a Paddy's Day one with like a leprechaun and you can even tell them, you can ask them to if you might do a wicked one, for example, if you ask them to.
Yeah, they're pretty flexible.
But they'll like design the medals around whatever the event is themed on.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
They're regular. If you're trying to get some good races out, they'll sort you out. The Dubai and Riyadh were marathon distances. The Saturn race was actually an ultra. It was over 31 miles, a 50k. Then on 27th of April, I did the Not Done London Marathon, which is basically a funny one they do up north on the same day as the London Marathon. For anyone who didn't get into it, it's quite funny. I did then the biggest one of the year called the Grim Reaper on the 24th of the 5th. That was my 70-mile race, my longest race to date. That took me over 16 and a half hours. It was pretty brutal. but I was happy to say I came third in that, so I was very happy with that. Yeah, that was, yeah, no, sorry, my overall position was fourth. For my gender, I was third.
Impressive.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked by that. Montenegro, Podgorica, that was a marathon. Then the 30th of the 7th, I ran a marathon where we live. I created it out of all the tracks. That it's got loads of great running trails here. I just bounced between all the set trails. Another village nearby us, I did another marathon the following month on the 30th of the 8th through all like the nice canals. That it was like a nice canal run, pretty easy going. Then the last few were all abroad. The 26th of the 9th I did in Vietnam, in Hoi An specifically. On the 23rd of the 10th, I did it in Luang Prabang, Laos. On the 12th of the 11th, I did it in Incheon, South Korea. And finally, Christmas, 21st of the 12th, I did another 50k, 31 miles in Portsmouth. And that is a marathon or ultra that I've been wanting to do for years. So I was over the moon. I finished the year off there because it was one that I've just always looked at, but it's always been too much of a drive, too close to Christmas, because it did take me about 4.5 to 5 hours both ways.
And that's crazy. So you drove down the night before it and stayed there, but then you ran 50 kilometres and then drove back to Yorkshire from Portsmouth.
Yes,
which is insane. Like, I'm surprised you didn't have leg cramp or foot cramp.
Yeah, it was a bit exhausting, I'll be honest, yeah. It's surprisingly the drive back wasn't as... I was pretty worried in the last hour of the race. I was like, oh, this drive back's going to be brutal. But I think I managed myself quite well because I had a full Huel before I went. I had a Huel, a bunch of nutrients, did a bunch of stretching. And then I planned this service station, which I knew had some pretty decent food selections. And I went and I did it earlier on rather than later on. So instead of, usually I like to get over halfway. Yeah. But this one I went, nah, let's just do it within less than 2 hours. I'll go to one. And then I had a massive meal. And I feel like that, I think I just got the nutrients right at the right time. I think if I didn't eat early enough, I would have just crashed heavy. And I had a coffee. So, but yeah, I was pretty sparked out once I got home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unsurprisingly, really. But what an incredible breakdown of the year. Like, how does it feel to know that you've completed this feat?
I'm over the moon, especially with having to defer the 100 miler to 26. I'm over the moon that I was able to end the year with going, you know what? You've done a massive achievement there. That's the biggest running achievement you've achieved in any year. It's something special, 12 for 12. You know what? That's one every 4 weeks. Like, when you think of it like that, it just like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of running. And obviously I'm training continuously, so it's quite a lot of miles. So yeah, it feels awesome. It's exciting to have done it. I feel good. I must say, I'm in love with running. I'm in love with running further and further and further. And I just think I class that as a big achievement in my running career. Like, if I was to sum up when I'm old and crippled and I can't run anymore, I would definitely note this down to people.
Yeah, 100%. Like, who does that? That's like, wait, to be fair, we should have got the local news on you. Following me down to Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Like, this man has run a marathon every month this year, including ultras, including 70 miles for one of them. That's like, I think it's really important that you don't lose sight of what an unbelievable achievement it is to run a marathon, to run one marathon. That's a lot of people's fitness goal. Yes. It's a silly 0.1% of people ever run a marathon in their life. You've just done 12 back-to-back within a year. Like, every single one of those is a huge achievement. So, yeah, really important that you remember that.
Thank you. And I think I forever need you to remind me, because when you go to these organised races, the first group you walk into, you could be seen as like, oh, wow, you are like a running god. You've done it all. But then you walk into another group and you're like, oh, I've not achieved anything.
Yeah, I mean, you can't compare yourself to like that. Like, anyone that's done more than a marathon is in like an elite group. You're in that group.
Yeah, I'd say that. It's just because I meet those people that I've met people that I know I couldn't achieve what they achieve, and I know you're right, it's wrong. I think that's why I struggle with it, because I'll walk into other people who are just like, oh my goodness, what they've done.
But you know that I and most people from today, without training, could not even walk a marathon. Like, I think at an absolute push, I think I could just about maybe finish walking a marathon if I took breaks and did it over many hours within the day. Maybe.
You could do it, yeah.
But you run them at a really good pace on the regular, and you don't get blisters, you don't get blooming nipples ripped off, you don't, like, you know what you're doing. Scott's got a whole routine.
I do
All the
it.
smelts of Vaseline.
Yeah, the reason I don't get touch wood, honestly, because honestly, going through this 11, 12 year, even now running, my goodness, I've had some injuries. I don't have enough hands. I don't have enough fingers to tell you how many ankle problems I've had. But touch wood, I've had a lot less as I've grown, as I've ran more, because I've just learned little things. So I know how to stop blisters. I know how to stop your nipples getting so fiery red that you feel like they're going to fall off. Like, I know what to do. I've just learned the hard way. I've learned the hard way. So I just know the little exercises, the right creams or the right things to put on or ingest at the right time. I don't know everything. I've managed to mitigate most of the problems. So none of them I came off with any severe anything. Probably the worst thing I came off was just like probably sunburn. I probably got some pretty bad sunburn at a few, because it's just pretty hard to, even with keep on reapplying, you just don't realise how much direct sun is on you.
Yeah, and you're sweating it off as well, aren't you?
Yeah, so that's probably the most severe thing. A bit of, well, the 70 miler, even with my Vaseline lathering myself up, still had quite a bit of soreness under my armpits. So that, and obviously you feel pretty rough after it, but no injury. No, nothing severe for sure.
Very impressive. What would you say was your best and worst run?
Good question. Yeah, I've been struggling to think what the best one is. I know what the worst one is.
What was the worst one?
The worst one, and I don't want to say, when we say worst, I'm still happy I've done it. It's not like I wish it never happened, but I could define worse in different ways. But it'll probably be the Montenegro one. And I'll throw another one in there in a minute, but Montenegro also could be classed as the most dangerous one. It was brutal. That is outside of my ultras above 40 plus mile. That's up there with the hardest race I've ever done. For sure, the hardest marathon I've ever done. And why was it? It's because of heat. I found that the toughest thing to run in is heat. The two things I hate running in, it's heat and ice.
Oh, God.
If it's icy or if it's really, really hot, clear skies, they're the two hardest things to run in. One, you're going to slip over and crack your head open. And the other one, it's just going to beat you down. And this one was the peak of summer in Montenegro. Not a cloud in sight, not a tree in sight. And I ran for 6.5 hours, just in, as if I was just on the sun. And the reason, it wouldn't usually take me 6.5 hours, usually it'd take me between 4 and 4.5. But the reason it took me that long is because I had to stop to cool myself down. Because if I didn't, I would have had a heat stroke. See, again, with my experience, I know when that's coming on. I'm not impenetrable. It doesn't mean that I'll be able to fend it off every time. But I know the signs that say, hey, if you don't get in shade right now and you don't get an ice cream in you and some electrolytes in you, you could be face on the floor in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was scary.
And it doesn't matter how strong you are, how much will you have. It doesn't matter. If you have a heat stroke, I mean, you can die. I've seen it happen to people. It's pretty severe. I've seen people finish races and be literally dropped, and like medics have run in and they've just been absolutely white, pale, passed out, and they've just been dragged and put on a gurney and just like, oh my God, like, is that person dead? Like, you don't know, they're just absolutely fucked. So I was pretty scared at this one because there was no shade, like not an ounce of shade. And one half of it was brutal because it was around the airport, which I thought I looked a bit dodgy just running near the airport on my own. But they have the tiniest airports, it was okay. But it was all like, it was in like where all the wine fields are. It's all the wine fields. So quite a nice visual, but it was just tarmac, blistering heat reflecting.
No shade.
Like when I'm talking no shade, there were moments where I was so hot and I was so worried about needing shade. I just started getting behind anything. So I would find just like, when I say a bush, it's like a thin tree with some leaves, and it just had this like 1 meter square by 1 meter block that had a bit of shade. Right, I'll crouch down into that. And that's what I had to do. I'll crouch in this tiny, tiny bit of shade just to get some rest. And I'd crouch there for 5 minutes. And I felt like I had to do it because otherwise I'm just going to pass out. There was that little shade. I just had to crouch in strange, like, little blocks of shade to look after myself. And where it got most dangerous was definitely when I left the roads and I got to that airport area. Because the roads had the gas stations. They were pretty far and few between, but they offered me aircon, nutrients, etc. So it's still tough because I guess it was the two difficulties. I'll drill them down. One before the airport, and that was the main roads. So it was like 35 degrees. But when trucks and cars, which they would pass me like every 5 seconds, whenever they would pass me, especially a truck, it would increase the heat by like another 4 degrees. So I was actually running for half of it on more like nearly 40 degrees heat.
That's wild.
Because you'd get engulfed by the warmth of the lorry, of the car, and its main road. And there's nowhere else I can go. There's no terrain I can go off on. So that was horrific. Like being engulfed by the warmth of these cars, and it was wafting the heat at me. So I was like nearly passing out. So that was the first half. Then the second half, the airport, which I keep alluding to, that second half of the race was just around past the airport and then around all the wine fields. Again, nice to look at with all the mountains in the background. Quite beautiful, I must say. But that had zero shade. No cars, tick. But it had zero shade, and it had no gas stations, and it had no one. There was not one car pass. I had like 2 cars pass me for like 2.5 hours. And that was when I was at my most scared. I got about, I don't know, 30 minutes down there, and I looked at my watch and I was like, I think this map is I think this part of the run is going to take another hour. And I was like, I don't know if I can run another hour in this. Like, physically, I felt like I could go, but I knew the tell signs of a heat stroke coming on. And I knew it doesn't matter how mentally I can keep going. I'll fuck myself up. So, sorry for swearing. So there was a couple moments where I stopped and went, I might have to call it here.
Yeah.
I might have to call a taxi, whatever. Just, you need to get out of this. And looking back at it, I probably should have, if I'm honest. I think that part of the race, I think I probably should have, because when I thought it was going to take an hour, it took another about 2 hours. And it was brutal. And I don't know, it was just my sheer will. And I know I have a good will and drive, but I think that was maybe not a smart decision, because I think I got pretty close to a dangerous situation there. There was one funny moment, like, because I was just like, I had no water as well. I didn't say that, did I?
No, that's ridiculous.
I drank all my water. So for an hour and a half of it, I didn't have water. So that was also difficult. And finally I found a river. I just dove in it. I just ran down. I was looking at it. I was like, oh, it's quite far to go down there. I was like, oh, do I bother? It's a bit, because I thought I want to keep my energy. But I was like, Scott, I know you can't drink it, but just go put your head in it. So I did. I made my way down, and I just threw myself in it, and I sat in it like half my body. I just sat in it for like 5 minutes, and whilst I couldn't drink it, it cooled my body down. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep cooling your body down. Throw water. So the water I buy, I put half it on my back, on my cap. You've got to cool yourself down. If you don't cool yourself down, you'll overheat. And then that's where it gets quite dangerous.
Yeah.
It also happened on the Ultra. Not as severe as this, but just because I was running for so long.
This is the Grim Reaper one.
Yeah, I started overheating, and my body was. It's when you feel hot to touch, when you can touch and go, geez, you are roasting.
Yeah.
You need to cool yourself down, otherwise you're going to put yourself in an ambulance.
Well, I mean, it was frightening inside. It was extremely frightening hearing it back. And just to give context to your, like, how difficult you found it. So that was a marathon, right?
Yes.
You had a slower pace on that marathon than you did on your 70-miler. If I've read that correctly.
That's mental.
Isn't it? So, like, you could maintain a pace of 70 miles faster than on that Podgerace marathon.
That's absolutely mental.
Have I read that correctly? So, you had average pace of 14 minutes and 46 seconds in Podgorica.
Yeah, holy moly,
14 minutes and 13
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, I didn't even know that stuff. Wow. Holy.
So that just shows how much more difficult it was.
Yeah. So I had a slow, but that's mental.
Yeah,
I'd ran for 16 hours and still had a faster pace than that. That is mental.
that is crazy.
That sort of gives you the feeling for how difficult it was.
On a more positive note, what was your best marathon?
Best marathon, I had a lot of great ones. Just to mention on the worst ones, by the way, Vietnam was a very awkward one as well. I got knocked over twice. I got knocked, so just
I think Vietnam's known for roads being difficult to walk on, let alone.
Yeah, because there was just nowhere else to run, so I had to run again on the main roads, and I got hit by a bike twice, and it's just a nightmare. You're jumping over things, people are like sawing things in front of you, throwing fish behind you, and they're reversing into you. It's just everything's going on. But that's Vietnam. Best one. I think the one that I was able to just enjoy was the last one, Portsmouth. Because I've always dreamt of doing that one. I always got excited about it being like a Christmas run, which I've not done before. And it's just well known for being very beautiful. You run on the coast, you run on the beach, you see all the boats harboured, and it's quite cool as well when the water's out. You see the boats like just on the sand. It's just a cool visual there. I'd see all the boats anchored, just no water. It's just quite cool to like be able to run next to it.
Yeah.
It's quite cool and quite beautiful to see. So I'd say that probably was the one that I could just enjoy without getting beaten up by anything. People say, oh, marathons must be easy for you now, but no, they're not. They all hurt. They're all tough. What I would say to it is that you just get a lot better at dealing with it. The same pains, aches, and gripes are there. You are just much better mentally and physically at dealing with it. So you just don't, they're not as loud, I would say. They're not as present in your mind, the aches and pains. So that's the main thing. So it just makes it easier. But it's never easy. Everyone needs a lot of effort.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I think I was saying about you need to, like, you know that. You know how difficult it is, so remember how big of an achievement it is.
A couple of I really like. Dubai Marathon, again, Dubai and Riyadh was super hot as well, but they were really cool to do.
They're cool marathon villages, so like Dubai Marathon, I didn't join in at all. Like I was there to cheer you on, but there's like a cool village like with different stands where we got loads of free stuff. I
love that, yeah.
I'm like a little raccoon going and gathering all of the prizes. And then at Riyadh Marathon, I did, annoyingly, it was a 4K and not a 5K. I would have preferred a 5K. But afterwards, after I finished, I just got to like hang out in the village, try all the food, get all the free shit.
You were hilarious. When I saw the videos of you after, I was like, oh my god. There was just videos of her just going around every stall. Well, the first visual I got of you. Oh no, sorry, no, I watched you come in for the race. That was the first time I saw you.
Oh yeah.
I was watching you, yeah. I finished before you because they let you go later, didn't they?
Yes, that was it. I forgot which way around it was. Yeah, you set off, then I explored.
Yes, yeah.
Was that it?
I'm sure once I finished, I then went to the finish line and I stood there for quite a while
yes,
to
you
watch.
were, yeah.
But then, where'd you put all your stuff? Because you had bags full of stuff. It was quite amusing. There must have been a locker or something.
There must have been. How we? Yeah.
There tends to be bag drops at these races. You probably
Yes, I think I took it to a bag drop.
Yeah, the bag drops there, especially with that size. But for sure, I mean, some races they don't really put a village on. You call them a village. It's like set up with a bunch of games and freebies and sponsored your stands and stuff. But wow, Dubai was great, but Saudi for sure the best village I've ever seen.
It was unreal.
It was epic. It was so grand.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool because it was sandy. It felt like, in the morning, it felt like we were in Burning Man.
Yeah.
Because they had a huge stage, had their blooming rave music going off, and all you could see was like the sun coming up into like the sand. You had this like sandy sort of look to the area, and it was just like, wow.
It was a stunning sunrise.
It was sick. So it was amazing. There's some really notable ones. Saudi and Dubai, I really remember. The one just in a local town near us, going around the canals. That was beautiful. I really enjoyed that. Just enjoyed the canals. It was really nice. Yeah, all right, great. Grim Reaper was the biggest in distance. That was definitely the biggest journey. 16 hours. You were there the whole way. It was beautiful. So yeah, I got enjoyment out of all of them in different ways. Yes, some of them sucked more, like the ones I'd mentioned. You still gain something from all of them.
Well, I feel like your story could have been a good vibes only for me. Man runs 12 marathons in 12
Well,
months.
there we go.
But would you like to share your WTF? That was, before we do though, I just want to say thank you very much for sharing about your unbelievable achievement. I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I wonder if I should share a couple of I know I'm going on now, but there's a couple of WTFs I'll just list off on my runs.
Oh, yeah.
1, nearly got arrested. 2, I got knocked over twice. This is like for the full year. 3, I got attacked by dogs. 4, I had to help a woman who got like pretty badly in a pretty bad crash on one of them. And I think there's 4 probably craziest things that have happened during all my races. But it just shows when you run around the world. Oh, and in the last one, I was drinking whiskey during the race.
Oh, yeah.
Which is wild, they offered that. But that's just 5 unique things I've never experienced in a run before. Being knocked over myself, helping a woman who were in pretty horrible crash on one of my runs. And the dogs were probably the scariest. You'd think me getting knocked over, but it wasn't too vicious. I sort of bounced off the moped. I sort of pushed myself off it and I hit, but it wasn't too vicious, luckily. The dogs were terrifying. In Laos, they would just group up on you and they would chase you down. And if 1 came, 2 came, 3 came, they'd surround you and they would be growling and they would be big. And yeah, I had to have my running pole out. I never luckily had to, and I didn't want to ever lay hands on one with it, but it was just for a bit of distance. Just to say, hey, no, because some of them would get cheeky and only one of them has to have rabies.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And the arrest, I ran into a military base. Sorry. But moving on to my WTF, I know I've made it all about me today. But hey, that's how I want it every day. But it is time for Scott's WTF. Every week the world gets a little weirder. Let's talk about the strangest thing that went down this week. I laughed out loud about this. An 86-year-old man has been fined $335 for what?
I don't know. What's he been fined for?
For spitting.
All right.
Now, before I carry on with it, do you believe you should be fined for spitting?
I don't believe you should be fined for spitting, but I don't like spitting.
Fair enough. So you're on the side of you should not be fined for spitting.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. So this person, what happened is he got this is classed as littering, which is interesting. What happened is a leaf blew into his mouth, and then he spat it out,
Right.
and then an onlooker has reported it, and then the council's got involved, and they've fined him $335.
Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, did they have it on video for one? Like, is it illegal too? Where the sign's up saying you're going to be fined and this is the amount of fine? That's ridiculous.
I can only imagine that person was just recording at the time. It doesn't say anything about recording in this article, But obviously he argued it and he was like shocked, like, this is ridiculous, this must be a joke.
Yeah.
He got it in the post and he like said, I'm obviously not paying this. And then the local officials looked at it and they defended it and said, yeah, you are. You've spat.
That's so dumb.
It's ridiculous.
Imagine being 86. You've lived all your life. You've lived through a war. I can't quite figure out the maths, but not far off if he hasn't.
Yeah, there will have been a war
Oh
going
yeah,
on somewhere.
probably
There's not-
multiple wars, right?
Well,
To then be like fined a ridiculous amount, might I add?
That's a lot of money.
Like 20 quid. You're like, all right, fair.
You get fined less for that for not having a train ticket. You get fined less for not having a train ticket.
So dumb. Yeah, don't like that one. That
It's
is with WCF.
ridiculous, isn't it? But yeah, they defended it and said, yeah, littering laws must be enforced consistently. And now, of course, even online, people are outraged, debating over policy and zero tolerance rules. I personally, I'm not in love with spitting, but I accept I do it. I've got to be careful what I say here, but if you travel to the places that we've travelled to in the last couple of years, they spit a lot.
Yeah.
The locals spit a lot. I've noticed you get a lot of, when we went to China, you get a lot of old women making big lurgies. I go, like you turn around, it's just like an 80-year-old woman just spat in front of you, like, oh, lovely.
Lovely.
But, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, that is a WTF. But let's move on to something a bit more positive.
Bring
with
up the
Shelby's.
mood, my darling.
Yes, well, this is Shelby's Good Vibes Only. Let's take a break from the chaos. Here's something to make you smile this week. Shelby's Good Vibes Only. Scientists have discovered a way they've engineered cancer-fighting immune cells directly inside patients' bodies instead of in a lab. So it's almost like their bodies are then fighting off the cancer, which is really impressive. So it's a breakthrough method, and it trains the immune system on site to recognise and attack cancer cells. So it's like training your body to be like, that's cancer, pew pew, and get rid of the cancer, which seems like an amazing breakthrough. So I'm very excited to see what could come of that. Early results show that the technique it's showing strong immune responses. And researchers hope that it could transform how certain cancers are treated in the future.
That's unreal. So, cancer-fighting immune cells. That would be unbelievable. I so deeply hope that in our lifetime we find the cure for cancer. All cancer.
Yeah.
Because I know I've learned that also. One treatment doesn't actually fix all cancers.
Well, yeah, I suppose it'll depend on the type, where it is.
Yeah,
Stage.
which I don't know, maybe it was a bit silly of me, but I thought, once you've cured cancer, you've cured cancer. But that's not true. They act a bit differently. So I hope all cancer has been cured in our lifetime. I really, really do.
Yeah, I do. And I'm optimistic that it will be. I think they've definitely found, there's definitely been success in curing HIV.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure about AIDS. I feel like I've recently heard that there has been some success in trials.
Wow.
Because, that's like a life-ending condition, isn't it? Or historically has been.
Yeah.
Once it reaches that point. So, yeah, I'm optimistic that we will reach a point that we will be able to cure cancer.
Yeah, me too. Well,
Nice story.
Nice story. And if you want to listen a bit more on the topic today, if you enjoyed the topic of today about just hearing me talk, then I recommend 2 episodes. Episode 49, that episode's called EP49, Scott's 70-mile ultra, Taylor Swift life, and Rafael Nadal's farewell.
Oh.
Shelby's touch on the episode. And if you want to go really, really, really far back and hear how much we've changed, episode 3, the mysterious number 4, Bert vomited best airport hack and ultra goals. You'll get to hear me on the very start of my sort of ultra 100-miler goal and just sort of racing in general. And also you get a couple of other interesting stories from my life.
Yeah, and I think that'll have been before your very first ultra in Malaysia, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Won't it? I'm
Yeah.
sure we started this podcast at the start of our travels.
Yes.
We started it in Bali, and it was come April, I think, that we were in Malaysia that you ran the ultra, your very first ultra. So I think that's what the ultra goals is alluding to.
Oh my goodness, I might have to go back and listen to that.
I think we'd go back and listen to episode 1. And listen through.
Imagine, I can't
We've
imagine.
got 80 hours just there.
Yeah, right. But yeah, please do go check them out. And before we do all get swallowed up by the madness of day-to-day life, please can you do us a favour and flick the like button, elbow the subscribe, drop 5 stars in the podcast like a boss, and share the episode by performing an interpretive dance in public. It really keeps the adventures coming. Another adventure wrapped up.
But the journey never ends.
Keep your bags packed for the next one. And remember, when in doubt, just say, Yalla Habibi. See you next time.